thing.
I don't know
So,
if they.
I'm glad to see you. I'm glad you're here with us. But like I say, I had no idea. So.
You know, at one time I think Mr. Allred was going to be down coming, but he's.
Well, like I say, if we have stuff like that, I'd like to know if some other council members are finding out about it. I'd like to be notified too.
Did any other council members knew about it? I
How can we get in contact with you during
I
the day?
did. I was called.
We were called.
Yeah, but
And
where she works.
Yeah,
We can
and see,
call
that's the
her.
thing is whenever I first even took position here, whenever I was actually put on the council, before I was elected in, I gave you all a list of how to contact me, and I said the best thing to do is you can get a hold of Jim during the day. I mean, I know he's
Jim
not
comes by
he's
pretty
not my
regular.
secretary,
Yeah.
but he's doing a fine job. But like I say, he's got a way of getting in touch
You are
with me.
secretary too.
So like I say, if you can just get a hold of Jim and say, tell Leslie, because I can go out on break or on lunch or
okay.
something, I can call you all, but I just can't do it during my job. So.
Okay.
So I'd appreciate that greatly if I
We
could be
will. We'll
informed
call him.
also. Thank you.
I was contacted about it.
Yeah.
I had no problem.
And like I say, I have no problem. Glad to see you here. But like I say, I would like to know, yeah, about the other. So that's it. That's all I had to say. Oh, and one more thing. I'm sorry that wasn't all. I do want to take this time too to recognize the passing of one of our city employees' father,
Oh, yeah.
Mr.
Yeah,
Davis.
that's
Nobody
good.
here has
Yeah.
even mentioned that
Yeah,
tonight, and
I
I just
forgot
want to
all
express
about
my
it.
Who was it
sincere, Mr. Davis, Stanley Davis.
Leonard-
His dad passed
Leonard
away.
Davis.
Yeah. And actually, he's up at the church right now, visitation, and I'm here. So.
The city did send flowers
Yeah.
in case you're interested.
Yeah, so I
Well,
just
that's
want to
good.
express the sincere, like, sympathy
hear
for
that.
that, so, because he's been a
Seems
good
like
employee.
we're losing a lot of people.
That's right, yeah, but that's it, that's officially it, go ahead.
Well,
Go
let's
ahead.
wait a minute.
Okay.
Let's wait, just make, no, wait a minute, make sure.
Let me think about it. No, I believe that's it.
Okay, Dave.
I have just one thing. Several people down the line have mentioned about no raises, so I just want to move to make a motion to freeze all hourly wages of employees on the City of Cumberland payroll as is effective
Yeah.
January 8th, 2013.
I want your piece of paper.
Read it again and that's
Did y'all
for,
hear all that?
You're making
Y'all
the
hear that
motion?
on that end?
Yes.
You want to read that again, Dave?
I make a motion to freeze all hourly wages of employees on the City of Cumberland payroll effective January 8th, 2013 as is.
Let me have that.
I'll second that.
Go ahead and put Charles'
I know.
name right on that.
I need the first one again too, because I got another one. If it's going to take
Well,
the
go
motion.
ahead and then I'll copy them
that
together.
makes it a lot easier if you write those down for us. and-
Well, I didn't write it down because I was asked right now. I
There
wrote it
you go.
down so I'd get it
I
right.
stole Jerry running.
So I'd get it right. I guess probably since it deals with money, I request that we do a roll call.
It will be a roll call vote.
Who seconded? Charles?
Charles did.
Yes,
I feel like
Everybody hears the
Lake
motion?
Philbrandt wrote it down.
I heard it. I can speak.
Read the motion again.
I make a motion to freeze all hourly wages of employees on the City of Cumberland payroll effective January 8th, 2013 as is.
Motion's made by David Dixon, seconded by Charles Raleigh. Have a roll call vote.
Bush,
Yes.
Dixon,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Jarvis,
Yes.
and Raleigh.
Yes.
Motion's approved.
The next motion may seem silly to the audience, but I've sat here probably since July. I've asked for these 3 light bulbs in the back to be changed.
Oh,
So-
here. What you meant on the
So
street.
I make a motion that city employees replace the light bulbs that are flashing, dimmed, and burned out at City Hall by the next council meeting on Tuesday, February 12th, 2013.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
There, you can make a copy of that. The next, I have one more thing, then I'll be quiet. This one doesn't require a motion. I do have a question. On Friday, December the 21st, all employees that were working day shift, except probably for the water plant operator and the police department, were allowed to go home. The 2 city clerks working that day were told to stay until 5 o'clock. were they compensated extra for staying while other employees were told to go home and still paid for their 2 hours? Did they receive any type of extra benefits, or were they discriminated against?
So we had workers that went home early and got paid for it?
Yes. And we had 2 city clerks that worked that day that had to work until 5 p.m. while other departments went home at between 3:30ish.
Why would we pay them if we let them off early?
I mean, I'm not against them getting off early because that was the last
Yeah,
business
I
day
don't have a
before
problem with that,
Christmas,
but
but
we're talking about
everybody,
paying.
the other two, the 2 city clerks that were working should have got to go home early as well.
Was that payday?
I was on vacation on the
Was
day
that
that
payday?
was. I'm not
That
sure.
wasn't payday.
So I never went down there.
I can't remember.
I wondered why I saw some of the city workers out running around.
Well,
Guess that's why.
we I allowed them to go home,
With pay?
with pay, yeah.
But yeah, we can't pay overtime, but we can just blatantly just pay them
Well,
2
that's
hours.
really the-
That's not a holiday.
That's really one of the reasons that I let them go, because of the fact that they're not using a lot of overtime on us or anything. They're getting their job done, and you can witness that or talk to some of the people out in the city, and they'll tell you that the city looks cleaner, our equipment is better, and the buildings are kept maintained better as they are. And I just, sometimes you can reward a person, by just doing something like
So
that.
these 2 girls weren't worthy enough. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's what you said.
I'm asking, are you
Why-
saying that?
Why weren't they?
Why were they not allowed to leave early?
I didn't say that. You did.
I mean, why weren't they allowed to leave early?
Why were they still here till 5 o'clock?
They probably volunteered to stay to 5 o'clock.
I don't think so.
Well, I think they would have.
Well, I think we
Would have.
probably need to call and ask them or
Let's
something.
call them up.
I'd say they've got
I
maybe
can't
they.
see, no, I can't
I wish
see them
Teresa
volunteering
was
for
still
everybody
here. I'd
else.
ask.
I wouldn't.
Wonder if Kelly or Teresa.
Teresa was here a few moments ago. I don't know.
Oh, that's not my issue.
They're not complaining. I may have asked them to stay just in case of an emergency or something of that nature. Because I do think we need to have some type of a contact with people at all times. And
Well, I agree with that.
And it could have been too that they'd already been off some that week.
Did they
but,
use vacation
they
days
had
when
no.
they were off?
They didn't complain to me about it. They haven't yet complained to me about it, and I wouldn't force them to stay or.
I mean,
Uh,
they're supposed to stay till 5, but I mean, they need to be compensated somehow for the 2 hours everybody else was
Maybe you can
paid.
pick another day and let them go home early.
Well, I don't say anything to them when they come in late or anything like that, I believe I am fair with them. I
They have
believe
time cards.
they do, absolutely.
Well, they're getting paid according to time cards.
How did they clock out to still get paid for it? I mean, you're using
Yeah,
the
how did
time
they
card.
clock out?
But they didn't clock out.
Well,
So
oh my
there's-
goodness.
Who are you talking about now?
I'm talking about the city employees.
No,
So
no,
They clocked out at 3 o'clock.
Frank, how
They
did
got
you
paid
take care
2
of
hours
it? I told you to
overtime.
let those people go if they didn't have anything to do. How did you clock them out when they left? Or did I tell you not to do it with a?
I made sure that their jobs, their duties were done at that time and allowed them to leave no earlier than 3, made sure they worked to that point. And I was trying to create jobs at that time for them to do, to be able to let them go at 3 o'clock.
But how did you show they clocked out?
Who
What
clocked
did you
them
do
out?
to clock them out?
They clocked out themselves.
At 3
That was
o'clock.
Nobody's time.
How did
At
we?
3 o'clock.
How did we
So
add?
then we shouldn't pay them.
Yeah, so why are we paying them for
How
2
did
hours?
they
It's
add 2
not on
more
time
hours to
card.
them?
Well,
They couldn't be there to physically clock out at 5 o'clock. So, did you write in 2 extra hours?
that's what I suggested they do. The water department did. When they got caught up with their work that day, I told them they could go home and whenever they got caught up, and because you're coming up on
It's
Christmas.
against the law to write in anybody's time.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm talking
So if
about.
they clocked out at 3, they wouldn't get
Somebody
paid.
got their time wrote in order to get 2 more hours for every
No, they
employee.
got paid for the full
They
8-hour
get
day.
paid if
They
it
had-
was
they get
no
paid for
time.
Who
clocked
clocked
out at
them out?
3.
I left that up to the supervisor to take care of the I mean, I'm responsible, let me put it that
No.
way. Yeah, I'm responsible,
No. Well,
but
yeah,
I
you're
told them to let them go home whenever they got their work finished for that day, because Christmas is right around the corner. Usually the council will let them go home for the entire afternoon. It would proclaim that day a holiday, which
Well,
is
We don't
they
have a
went
problem
on
with it. We
Christmas
just don't-
Eve day, didn't we?
We never
But you all
pay
were
them
off
for
Christmas
2
Eve, weren't
extra
you?
Well, that's why
Or we
we let
make
them
sure
off.
everybody
That's-
gets it done fairly and even.
Well,
We
it
don't-
was fair. I didn't have any complaints. I didn't.
Well,
But
Evidently you
again-
did.
But again, how did they
Who?
clock out?
Well, I didn't. Sometimes, you know.
Is it on their time card that they work 40 hours that week?
They got paid for 40 hours
That's what
that
I'm
week.
asking.
Did
Is
they
it on
not?
the time
Yeah.
card 40
Yeah.
hours that week?
Or did it show 38?
Or did it show 38?
Well, it was supposed to show. I told them to go ahead and sign them out by handwritten. Sign them out at 5 o'clock.
You're really not supposed to.
Well, I know you're
Right
not.
on that.
But
Lord have mercy, Mayor.
but
And nobody else is supposed to clock you in or out.
No, it's illegal.
that's true. That's true.
It's
I'm
illegal.
saying that
Except
to protect them.
You can adjust
We
the
get-
supervisor.
Supervisor, all you can do is initial any adjustments made to that time.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's all.
You better never be
supervisor's
caught
permitted.
clocking somebody out, or better never be caught clocking somebody out.
Right.
It's illegal.
Absolutely.
Illegal to add in time too. Illegal to add time down here.
Exactly.
I don't think anybody's cheated to Cumberland out of any hours of work.
We're
Based
not
on
talking
their pay.
about cheating.
We're
We're
not
talking
talking about
about a
cheating,
matter
Mayor.
of being
Bookwork.
up and above board, bookwork and being legal.
Doing it right.
That's what
We've
we're
been
talking
hit
about.
with
I mean, I
this
think that's
labor
great you let them go
department
home
stuff
early,
before.
but
don't
it
have
needs
a
to show
problem with
right on their time cards.
Since we gave them extra, we give them holiday pay, I don't think we should have paid them. Or at least if we're gonna do it, we should have done it for every employee.
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm getting, I'm not trying to.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to
Turn this
contradict
damn
David.
thing over to you. Yeah, yeah. Is
No,
that all you had,
nobody's after
David?
you, Rob. You good.
That's all I have.
Don't believe none of that.
Anybody else forgetting anything?
We'll go, Frank, did you want to say anything, or were you?
I had a few questions, but I don't feel tonight's the appropriate time. I'll wait.
Could make a motion. We get
We'll get-
reports.
Anybody else in the audience want to say anything? Yes, go ahead.
I just, this year started a lot like last year. Today's the, what, I guess eighth. I've already 2 days with no water. Last year, I was 37 days with no water.
Over in, okay, yeah, yeah.
Made phone calls last night, 6:30, 7 o'clock, to the water department. Guy told me they'd shut some kind of pump off to fill something up down there. He would change it, but there was nobody he could call in. It's been 24 hours now, still have no water. I've got 4 children to get ready for school. I've got a job, my wife's up in the morning. I've got to have water. I don't know, this went on 20 years ago, same type of thing. We had a 10 or 15 year span, had no problems. Don't know what the difference was then. In the last 5 years, I average anywhere from 30 to 45 days that I have no water. I've called you at home. I know you've helped best you could. I've called the water department. I don't know, I don't know what has to be done, what changes when I don't have water. From what I understand, when Indian Hill, or not Indian Hill, but Pri-Terrace gets low, I've got
See
no
that?
pressure.
Shouldn't have.
That shouldn't be happening. That's supposed to have been fixed. The
Well-
valve, did somebody adjust the valve again?
No, let me tell you what happened, okay? Last night, the fuses blew out at Pri-Terrace, 2 fuses, okay? So, but that was at 8 o'clock,
Just even.
yesterday evening, yeah. And so we didn't get, the water department didn't get to fix that until this morning, to put new fuses in and get the pumps repumping. It takes that tank about it takes about a day and a half to refill, and it's refilling right now. Because of the elevation of your house, you'll be the first one to get affected every time.
There's not but 4 of us that even get affected, to the best of my knowledge. That's why I guess that's why I have, when I call in and complain, it's one voice. And my dad's not 8 foot lower than I am. He still has enough water to take a shower. I have nothing.
But
And that's what I said, the bad thing is with 4 kids, it just makes it tough. You know, and like I said, last night, I got home at 7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, I had no water last night, so it had to be before 8. I don't know what time the fuse went out. And I did call the water department, you know, I didn't bother you last night, I called the water department. They told me that, you know, they'd take care of it. This morning, still had no water. I have to travel to go take a shower, go back to my house, get ready, go to work, take all my kids somewhere else, get them ready, come back. You know, I've got to run 4 kids back and forth. I get home this evening at 8 o'clock.
No
At 8
water.
o'clock
No
this
water.
evening, I still got no water. You know,
So
I
they
can
fix the
understand
fuse and you
24
still
hours.
don't
If it
have
takes
water.
time for it to build back up,
Well,
is
yeah.
there a second relay? Is there something we can do?
Well, that's not a good system in that Pride Tourist pump station up there. I don't know why you would have to depend on water from that pump to provide you water over in New York anyway, because there should be another relay or pumping system between there and your buildings. But like I said, it's the elevation. We've got the same problem on Sanctified Hill, on Sand Hill, on Park Road. The houses are above our water pressure thing. But now, we did test the water pressure at your meter, and it was more than 20, it was 22 pounds per square inch. And that's a little...
But my meter's at the bottom of the hill, not
That-
my property line.
Does your meter turn?
Uh,
Does your meter turn when the water's up?
I don't know. That's another thing that I was going to question.
But see,
I was 1 month that I was out of water for 9 days. My water bill that month was $176.
but what? Let me finish on your meter. The city, I know you're not going to like this, but the city is only required to provide 20 pounds square inch or 20 pounds pressure at the meter. We're not responsible for up the hill. Did you not have a holding tank and a booster pump at one time?
At one point, when 11, 12 years, we didn't need it.
But
You know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If, you know, at one point when they put my mother and father's at the top of the hill, I'll bet you can come test theirs. I'll bet you they don't have 20 pounds.
no, they don't. I know that for a fact.
So, I mean, maybe he's the one should be here, not me, but if you fix one, you fix them both. That's kind of my thing.
Where's
You
his,
go to
where's
my
his
brother,
meter? His meter is at the top of the hill.
which is where they were supposed to put mine. When they ran the new water lines up the hill, not to mention they tore the road all to pieces.
See?
But when they put the new meter at the top of the hill,
That pressure up there was 7 pounds per square inch. Okay, but now that's a
you know,
private.
that was after the water was coming back. That wasn't
Yeah.
when the water was out. That was when it was coming back.
You don't have check valves on that line now. There's no check valves there. The water will come back down, you know, down, gravity fed. But now, that's a private drive too, right?
They call me city limits. I pay city taxes, but anything I need done, no, I'm outside of city limits. I mean, we fought that for 60 or 40 years.
Well, here's one problem too. There's supposed to be alarms. If a fuse blows, there's supposed to be an alarm that will contact the water plant or contact whoever so that that fuse shouldn't be blowed no more than a couple of hours to get somebody out to go change it. We don't have those alarms. That's why we keep getting fined on the agreed orders too.
That's what Monarch Engineering.
Fix the alarm system and save
We need it
people a
now,
lot
we
more
don't need
time.
Well, if Eric called the water department last night, why did they wait till this morning to change
the water
fuse?
department, why couldn't he have went and?
Right then.
You call
and changed
somebody
the
out right
fuse.
then to go
Yeah.
fix it.
Why didn't
Well, I
somebody go
did fix
fix it?
this morning, you know, and like I said, I'm still right now on 24 hours, and I still have no water. I'm gonna have to take them somewhere tonight. I'm gonna have to go somewhere in the morning. Maybe in my morning I'll have water, but if I don't, then I'm doing the same running around. And like I said, I've been 7 days before. 9 days was the worst. 9 days.
This is
with
the
no
one
water.
part where we don't cut overtime. When something's
Yeah,
down,
when something's
you bring them
emergency.
out and you fix it because
No, we
those
would've
and
cut
those
it, yeah.
alarms should have been
Yeah.
working to notify them anyway.
The pumping stations we have are
I-
25, 30, they don't have alarms in them.
They can be installed.
Well, sure they
Did you
can,
call
yeah.
just the water department last night, or who
We
all
got
did you
fined
call?
just
Just the
Yeah.
water.
Just
When
the
I called,
water.
I called Carl last time, and he told me that somebody should be at the water department until 10 o'clock.
So you called them last night, nobody took action till this morning.
Not that, I don't know. He told me last night that he was gonna turn whatever off that they had done at the water department, which I don't know what that was. And that should have my pressure back within 3 to 4 hours. Got it this morning, I still didn't have water. I think Tina has talked to maybe some people today.
Let me
When
ask-
I get home this evening, hey, I mean, the biggest thing, somebody tell me where the breaker is. I would pull a breaker. I mean,
Yeah,
100 yards
just
from
to
my
get
house,
water,
I don't
yeah,
mind doing it.
yeah, yeah.
You know, it's not that far. I've got a
Yeah.
four-wheeler. I can run over there, flip the breaker, and have water. I mean, I don't mind doing it.
Well-
But, I mean, with 4 kids, it's just
Yeah,
hard.
yeah.
That one reason I asked you if your meter was turning, that if you can go look at your meter with nothing on in your house and it's turning,
Right.
between the meter and your house,
Got a leak.
you know, you got a leak, which you're
Oh, there's
responsible.
no
Yeah.
leak. I mean,
That's why I was asking that.
I mean, we've checked for leaks when my water bill was high. We've done this, but now, like I said, I know the 1 month, I don't know how the back valves that you're talking about work, but I know the 1 month I was out 9 days at the beginning of the month and another 6 or 7 middle of the month. So I was out total 17 days and I had $176 water. So, I mean, my water bill stays around $80 to $90.
I know there's times
That
people,
month, something couldn't have been right.
Right.
I paid it, I didn't complain, you know. But, you know, the thing is,
doing without water is just
when-
not
yeah,
right.
without water, I'd rather pay a $200 water bill and have water bill, or have water 30 days. But, I mean, with 4 kids, it's just, it's
I
tough.
sympathize with you, and
Roll
it
around,
shouldn't
especially
have
if
went
it's
that
cold
long.
weather, you know, we're having to go down to the house we own at the bottom of the hill, get them bathed, take them out with wet heads back to the house so that they can go to bed, and then I've got to do the same thing in the morning. Granted, I'm fortunate enough that I own another house that my grandmother lived, that my wife's grandmother lives in, within a couple hundred yards of me, but it is still, it's a very bad inconvenience
Sure,
with 4 kids, and I don't know if there's something can be done.
there is.
I mean, anything, you know, like I said, I went 11 years that we didn't have this problem. When I was growing up in the house, I bought my mom and dad's house. When I grew up in the house, we had the problem off and on constantly. They put a booster pump in the garage. What finally happened, the water pressure got so low, we burned the booster pump up because there wasn't enough water to get to the booster pump, so they burned the booster pump up. They got ready to put another one in, but at that point, we went, I'm gonna say 10 or 11 years that we didn't really have water problems. Of course, in that 10, 11 years was also when I was going to college. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, I don't know. But I bought the house 2002, and it's averaged, 02, 03 wasn't that bad. From 2004 up, I've averaged anywhere from 30 to 40 days, 45 days a year that I don't have water.
But we
And I know
definitely
that don't
gotta
sound
do
like a lot
something
a
about
year,
it.
but
It is a lot in here.
I mean, when Loretta was in, I threatened her that I was gonna come up there and bring my kids, take share of her house. Of course, Loretta told me to come on up. She didn't. But, you know, it's a big inconvenience with 4 kids. If it was something that you can make a phone call within 6 to 8 hours, you've got water back, it's not as bad. But I mean, right now it's 24 hours. And honestly, from what little bit of water I had tonight, I mean, you turn the water on and you've got a pin line string,
Well, there's,
and that's after
the
24 hours.
tank's even supposed to, now I know the tanks have alarms. The
I need
tank,
that phone there, come down 424.
the tanks something should have notified that the tank was low, so that the tank wasn't empty.
From the way it was explained to me, and it's been years back, if it goes 5 foot over full, or 5 foot under full, then I have no water. I'm that close to the, so if it gets 5 foot under whatever their full line is, then I have no water. And I know that 5 foot is not a lot of play with. I understand.
Hey, Nick.
That's why I can understand.
What's the
this
pump
and
reading?
that. But like I said, this year starting like last year. We had a few years that it wasn't that bad, but last year I'd say there was, I'm gonna say there's 50 to 60 days.
What about
But
that?
on average, 30 to
one of
45
them,
days a year that I don't have water.
The one that,
And like I said, I mean, if nothing else, if the city would put a booster pump at the bottom of the hill, move my meter to the top, put a booster pump there. You know, a booster pump's not that expensive, but for me to go out and put a booster pump, it's gonna continue to get burned up because I don't have water pressure. I'm not gonna go out and do that. I mean, if they put one at the bottom of the hill, put a little, you know,
is it pumping now? I mean, you're
water house,
pumping.
whatever,
Or-
where it's pumping up, you've
What's it
always
read?
got some water at the bottom of the hill that will keep my pressure coming up.
What's it reading?
But to put it at the top of the hill of my house, it's just wasted time because it's just gonna keep burning up with what little water I've got.
Hopefully we won't just.
I'll even buy the pump if you all will install and put it at the bottom of the hill. I don't mind doing that.
You shouldn't have to do that.
No, we should be
Shouldn't
taken
have to
care
do
of
that,
already.
Okay. It should be about normal then, shouldn't it?
It's in my house. When the house was built.
Okay.
At the time, they supposed to go out to limits. So they ran bottom of the hill. We had to run water line up the hill.
Yeah.
Do we have those fuses
That's
in
when
our
the fuse
warehouse?
blew.
Do we have any
Let's see,
fuses in our warehouse?
at my meter, but I live probably a good 90 feet above my meter.
Okay. Hey, when those people call, buddy, at night like that, you get in touch with me or you get in touch with Chris. Okay?
Any hills, the top, that's why they have to move.
That tank's at 24 feet right now. Full is 28 foot, okay? It's a 30-foot tank. It's at 24 feet right now. The pressure should be building up, but you will be the last one to start receiving the
Well, they
pressure.
told me
because-
if it got 5 feet under, then I had no water. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's right now.
24 feet in it, you should have water.
Where it's been built.
Water now.
But he said it's filling up right now. When the fuses blew, the pump stopped and the tank went way down, okay? But it takes that a while to refill those tanks when it goes down like that. Because the water goes in all tanks. You know what I'm talking about? That tank will be less water.
My question was, why wouldn't the fuse fix yesterday evening when I called? There
Well-
was still somebody at the water department. Couldn't they have ran up there at 7 o'clock?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what my
That's what
question
should've been done.
is
It's not like it's
yeah.
not a known problem. This
Yeah.
Yeah.
is something I've been working or fighting for, 6,
Well,
7 years.
And we wouldn't be
That's
waiting for the
That's a
tank to
problem
fill
the
back up.
city's had for quite a while, is having people on call that will respond when you get a call. And I've got one man that's been trying to tell me to let him take over so he can make sure that happens. But now I don't know if
That's
he's
up
gonna
to
be.
your water supervisor.
Well, it's up to the man that can get the man to go do it. And
I'll go do it. Just tell me where it's at.
well, I would
can't
do
though.
it. I would do it if I could do it, but it's
You can't.
it's a confined entry, and you got to have the special qualifications. And but the water level is getting up there. I could just be patient. But you might ought to consider that pump to feed the water from your meter up that hill, like you had before, that booster pump. I heard you say you'd pay for
I'll
the
buy the
pump.
pump if y'all maintain it. The thing, you put an above ground pump, you've got the risk of water freezing, it busting, it cracking. I'm not there enough to maintain it. If you all will maintain it, I'll buy you one.
Well, we put pumps in like that in several places now, and I'll talk to Chris. I told him to go by tomorrow and to see what we can do to fix it, to make sure it don't. Because I know it's a recurring problem.
I think something needs to be investigated in why this man's paying such a high bill if he's not having water.
Yeah, if he's not even got water for that long, yeah.
I mean, if you don't have a leak, there's something
There's
wrong.
something wrong.
He says he's got 4 girls, so.
Yeah.
You know, 4 girls and they're not getting water that many days.
If one of them spends half as much time as mine does, I'm sure.
Did anyone else have anything?
Public.
Anyone else? Did you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I've got a problem. I have had a problem for almost a year here. My name is Roy Tippett, for anybody that don't know me.
Don't know you.
I live behind Food City,
Yeah.
across the railroad tracks where they used to be.
Right.
And for about 7, 8
It's not
months
the city
now,
limit.
their fans have been nothing but a nightmare on me and my wife. They are horrible. I've not been able to open my swimming pool this summer for it. I can't get out in my yard and barbecue.
Wait, tell me the last part again. A nightmare after a nightmare.
It's a nightmare over there at my house, the noise coming from these fans. I have not been able to open my pool, and it's the first time in 20 years, because I can't get on my deck. The noise. I've not been able to barbecue out. I can't get on my front porch, drink a cup of coffee, read a paper, or nothing. The noise is so intense coming out of the fans. And it's just started here. Now this March will make almost a year. I've lived over there before the store was ever built. It's been peaceful and quiet as long as I've lived there. And now this has started on me. And I have called Food City, the district up in Abington, Virginia. I've had them over my yard 3 different times in about 2 months apart of 3 different people. They agree that I do have a problem, but they say it's not their fault. They don't. It's been like that all this time, but it's not. I've had them come in my house. This noise is actually coming in my house now. And I can't take it no more. And it's absolutely a problem. It can be fixed. It's a fixable problem if they would just do it.
Have you talked to Mr. Henry, who actually owns the building that Food City's
No, I've
in?
talked to the main people in Abington that runs the store.
See, the building is owned by a gentleman. The
Drexel
Food
Henry.
City doesn't own the building, so it wouldn't be left up to them to maintenance something on it.
Oh, I think so. Yeah,
They do too.
yeah, they do.
They have to maintenance it.
I've made a lot of phone calls over this year now. Here's some of the people I've talked to. One of them's the Attorney General's office in Frankfort. One of them's the Governor's office in Frankfort. Leslie Combs in Pikeville, County Attorney in Harlan, Fiscal Court, David Kennedy, and 4 different other lawyers in OSHA. And they all say that ones that is established inside this building, they should take care of what the noise or whatever any inconvenience is, they are responsible for it. And now here's another thing, people, where I go crossing railroad tracks, it's been brought up, I'm out of city limits. But I've also talked to these people here too. They said it doesn't matter where I live, it's where the noise has been created.
Is the Food City in city limits?
Yes. Best of my knowledge, they are in the city limits. When you go behind Food City and cross those railroad tracks,
It's
I'm
out
out
of city limits.
and they are absolutely controlling. I'm a prisoner in my own house over there. You can't get out. You open my door, and it's just the velocity of the air is right in your face. And I invite any of you to come over to my yard.
I went
anytime.
behind there and I hear the noise. I even talked to the manager about it and asked her did she know any of their intentions to fix it. She said they had started parking a tractor trailer sideways there so it would deflect some noise, but I don't know if they do or don't.
No, no, they don't, and it doesn't. It don't deflect.
I don't know what
It's
the
got
law
to be as high
is.
as the fans. They don't go as high as those fans go, which is as high as the building, and it goes all the way to the bottom. If you go behind Food City on the railroad track side, and if you sit there for about 30 minutes, it'll drive you crazy, and that's exactly what's in my yard.
Yeah.
And my yard is about 250 foot long, and there's nowhere in my yard I can't go that I don't hear it. I can open my basement door, you hear it. It follows me everywhere. It's unreal. It's just.
Do we have a law on the books?
We have a
You have
noise
an ordinance
ordinance.
right
Yes,
here.
yeah,
I've got an
it's-
ordinance right
yeah.
here, 306B is
Yeah.
all I could get from the clerk.
Okay.
And it
Send
does
them a
say,
citation.
if you.
When did you bring this, excuse me, Miss?
Okay, go ahead.
Didn't we talk about this one?
I was sitting here thinking, I heard this before,
What
yeah.
did we discuss? We're trying to remember.
I wasn't here though.
Yeah, I know, we're trying to,
If you got an ordinance that says,
yeah.
It's a
Enforce the
nuisance ordinance.
ordinance.
It's a nuisance ordinance is what it is.
They
And
are responsible for it.
Wayne, have you talked to the people at Food City about that before?
We have, like I said, I don't know when we done all this, but we
Yeah.
never did
I
get any
remember being in the
wrong.
audience.
Actually, my opinion, you got a lawyer, you need to ask him, but I think it's a civil suit more than it is anything else, because I don't know how long that system they've had there, the fans. I don't know how long it's been in
ever
existence.
since it was
It's
built?
old as the store.
If it's old as the store is,
Because I worked there.
the problem is, you should have been complaining 25 years ago.
No,
40
I
years
didn't have the
ago.
notice.
But I'm saying, they've had to change some of the motors or fans or something.
It's got worse.
I didn't have the notice.
But I'm not saying it's not getting worse, not getting better, but my opinion, that's sort of a civil suit against Food City.
But the ordinance,
I don't have the money to put no
Can
suit on
I see
nobody.
that ordinance a minute?
I don't know what the ordinance even says, that's been so long since
The
we.
last of the ordinance is what you need to listen to.
Fans have got old.
Sure.
Oh, I'm sure if they've been out that long, I'm
This
sure.
is, let's go with section number
You
6
come
right
over
here.
in our yard, it intensifies about 75–80%.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
I don't know why, and listen, I've got cane poles, it's 20 foot high and about 20 foot deep. You can't even see the store from my house. It don't even Now, I've lived there for 36 years. I'm not gonna wait no 36 years to complain about something like this. But now, if you want to hear this right quick, I'll read to you.
okay, go ahead.
Now, sections 6 and 7, you got a whole bunch of stuff don't pertain to that. It says, for the purpose of the ordinance, it shall not be essential that the nuisance be created or contributed to or by the owner, occupant, or persons having control or management of the premises, but merely that the nuisance be created or contributed to by licensees, invitees, guests, or other persons. That's what it's got stored right now. And for those conduct, the owner to operator is responsible. The owner or operator is responsible. Food City is the operator of that store. But by this exercise of reason or care, ought to have become aware of the situation. Now, one word with ordinance here. Section 7, suspension of license. Whenever it is brought to the attention of the city that a nuisance, which I call a nightmare, exists, and the executive authority, which I assume is you guys,
Yes.
deems by written determination that there is an immediate threat to the public health, safety, and welfare, the executive authority may suspend the license of any person conducting business upon the premises where the nuisance exists.
Okay, stop right there a minute. I can do it as the executive authority. If a council makes a motion that I go up there and do that, that Food City will close.
We amended that ordinance.
Why don't you just fix the problem?
Well,
I don't want them, I ain't got to.
but I can threaten it. I can tell them that that's our position. But I say now, you can either fix it, or we'll give you, we have to give them, I think, 30 days.
Yeah.
It should be in the ordinance.
The city clerk shall cause notice to the suspension to the served person upon the license that on premises where the nuisance, exists. Just a minute now. Penalty. Whoever is found violating, that's why I asked you guys
You
to
have
come
to
over.
prove what the code
Don't take my
enforcement
word for
board
it. You
does.
come over my house.
Have to prove.
Whoever is found violating the provisions of this ordinance shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and shall be fined not more than $500 or imprisonment
We amended
not
section
for
8.
more than
sir.
30 days for each offense. Each day that the violation continues shall constitute a separate offense. Now, here's what your rights is. Now, I don't want Food City shut down. I don't have nothing against
I don't either. We couldn't
if
shut
they
it down.
shut down tomorrow, there'll be a store sitting over there within a week.
Yeah.
I'll guarantee you with probably better prices, but
Well,
I can't live there like this.
But I'd say it's going to take some drastic action to get drastic results.
Authority.
if you go up inside them and give them so many days, they probably will fix the
That's what
problem.
it'd be.
They're making too much money over our mayor to just
Well,
shut
personally, I
down.
think that we have a lawyer that
Sure.
is supposed to
But I'm
handle
talking about
things
what the
like
ordinance
that.
says.
Yeah. And this ordinance, if you want to write it
This
down, is
amends-
306B.
I think that's what
This amends
his
section
profession
8.
is.
You got amendment to that ordinance right there, though.
Yeah, David found
We've
an
got
amendment
amendment.
to that ordinance.
Yeah, you got amendment to that section he's talking
Goes
about.
before the code enforcement
Yeah,
board.
it's gotta go before the board.
Yeah.
He was on the board, I guess he's still on it, but
The amendment gives the power to the code enforcement board to enforce penalties, which the penalties have changed than what he read in section 8.
So what
Section
are they? What are the changes, is what I'm
We
asking?
could give them a copy, I guess.
shall be guilty of a misdemeanor, shall be fined not more than $500 or imprisoned for not more than 30 days, or both for each offense. Each day the violation continues shall constitute a separate offense, shall be punished by civil fine of not less than $10 and not more than $100 each day it continues. Offenses committed in violation of any provision of this ordinance shall be determined as being civil offenses and within the jurisdiction of the Cumberland Code Enforcement Board.
See, that's the same penalty that you just read.
Except it was amended to $10 and
it goes to the
no more
board.
than
I had a lawyer to write the CEO of Food City, write a letter for me over here in Whitesburg. I've got it at the house right now, and he wrote it, and he did say that in these times of days, you could have fans, more quiet, more efficient fans today, and you should do this, blah, 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 and get this off this man. Never got the first response from him, nothing. And the reason, he didn't charge me for that, but anything else, they want so much money, that's why I ain't got them. I've got 4 lawyers lined up willing to sue these people, but they want money from me big time. I don't have that type of money. And why should I have to sue anybody for putting a noise on me like this? I mean, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely, it's outrageous. of what
who's
they're
on the
doing.
code enforcement board now?
We need to appoint somebody to replace
Yeah, because
him.
he's on the council, you
have
can't
to
proceed
replace
to
him.
that at the same
If
time.
you go directly behind Food City where
You don't hear
the
nothing.
trucks you don't hear nothing what we're hearing. But
gotta
if you go
go-
on across the railroad tracks in our yard and stand in our yard, you get the full effect of it.
You get on my porch and you open my porch, it's unreal.
Jonathan, Mr. Lee, what do you suggest in a case like this, as far as legal
I mean, this don't stop.
activities?
This is every second of every minute of every day. It don't stop. It just
Could the
comes
city,
and goes.
I won't comment on the civil matter and whether or not he has the ability to bring a civil action, but certainly if there are ordinances in place, I think it would be prudent to pull those, research those, and come up with a response to the complaint, and that's something I could do if you want me to do so.
Yes, please.
Well, we've got the ordinances, and we've got, we just need to get our code enforcement board, and let them handle it, really.
That might be the result. I mean, I can't comment on whether or not that's the result. I have not seen the ordinances. Reading one from not even an official source, I don't want to comment on that, but certainly that could be the end result.
Because
So how long
this
is it
this
gonna
amendment
take
really
to get on that?
gave the code enforcement board the authority to penalize, rather than take it to court. That amendment gave the code enforcement board the same authority that the district court would have, and that's but that's the penalty that, you know, we had to amend our ordinances to have the code enforcement board take the authority. So if we turn it over to the code enforcement board, that's the same as have one of our enforcing officers, like Wayne, take it up there to them, then have the code enforcement board decide the penalty.
That's a good thing. You'd be prudent to involve the lawyer in that situation along with them.
Could we,
Instead of leaving them out.
could we
haven't
have
you? I mean,
like a letter drawn up from, since you're a city attorney, say send a letter to them showing the ordinance and that they're in violation, and maybe help him out that way and see if we get a response?
I mean, I can't tell you that is certainly something that you can do based upon the ordinance, and you've not seen the ordinance. I don't know.
yeah.
It's got forms that we send, it's procedures we have to follow. We have to give him a notice, then then he has 30 days to make the correction, just like the ordinance said. And then if he
What I'm
doesn't,
saying, I've been putting up with this now for 7 months, and I've told you, all these people I've called, and these attorneys and the offices and everything, and it's all coming back to a local problem. And everybody's trying to seem like put it in a circle, try to pass a buck on somebody else. And here, the only problem is like the guy with the water thing. It's only him. I'm the only person involved, nobody else. If there's 50 people over there, it'd be different. I'm sure it would. But where it's just me, it seems like nobody don't care.
No, you're.
No,
you're
no,
just
we're
as
gonna
important.
do something,
You
yeah.
are just as
So,
important as
yeah,
anybody.
yeah. We just can't make that decision right at this second.
I won't, I'm not asking you to, but I'll
Yeah.
say,
We're trying to go through the legal
Yeah.
channels to make sure. See, we can't just
Yeah.
hop and say, hey.
oh, I don't
you do
expect
this.
it to.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's been going on for almost a year. This March will make a year that this has happened. Other than that, it's been so quiet over there. That's why I love the place over there. It's peaceful out of the way.
I
And,
think we should
bam.
let him research the ordinance. He
We're
hasn't even
we're
seen
moving
it
on it
yet.
right now to start
He's
the
doing
process
it,
to try to
look
get
it
something
up.
done for you, yeah.
If you want to follow us home
Yeah, you
and
come.
step over in our yard, we would be kicking.
My yard would
to
hold every
death.
car you got over here,
Come
just-
And listen. It's too
Interesting.
I know, it's not.
Interesting.
Well, they probably
Not
turned it
really.
down now, knowing they probably didn't have to work now, they're gonna turn it
I
down.
feel bad because I didn't go over
They're off
the
or something, but
That's why I'm
anyway, that's my complaint. I appreciate you do what you can
I
for me.
appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
But we're absolutely, it's driving us batty.
Maybe by
Yeah.
the next council meeting, we can have you some more information as to what he's found
That will go under.
that we can do to
Buy
try.
you some cheap
But-
earplugs until it's.
But I believe, we have to keep the TV on our house all the time, keep, to hear the.
I really
hum.
do
It's
hate
here.
that.
I do too.
You
That's,
hear a
that's
hum
very
in the house.
That's
But
very.
now
That
you
drive
open
me
the door on
blue.
the front porch.
I've even had a
It's a
complaint
new story.
too,
It's just,
Steam running over there.
That's a shame.
Well, that
I
pump
talked to
machine
the
drives
head
me
maintenance
crazy
man
while we're in
from Abington, he come to my house. And he said, you know, for a fact, the fans have never been changed as long as the store's been built. Because he's over. He came to my house and he opened the door and walked back out. He said, I was put up with for nothing, but he's all I can do is tell my superiors. And that's,
It's been
I've had the
running
district
for
manager, he's in the paper here the other day, Harlan, he came over. I've had not the main person,
They just not been
second command, they
They've
came
been
over.
maintained.
And
They're 4 foot by 4 foot.
I'll tell my superiors, that's all I
Well,
get.
it's possible if we can maintain a little credibility that we'll be getting a new food city across where the power station's at, so.
That'd be good too, as long as they don't bother me. If they don't
All the
bother me,
blades
I
are
don't
missing
care.
off the fans.
It'd be nice,
Used to.
but I can't let them
Whenever
come in and destroy me. Now Wayne knows where I live out there.
Well,
I've read the
I was over there about 2 weeks ago.
It's a bad
Rebuild
situation.
when the car
I
was
appreciate
back
you
in.
listening.
Appreciate you coming. Yeah, maybe if-
Anyone else in the public have anything to say? If not, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Raleigh and Elliott.
That's
It's good to have work with you one day.
It's good to have been here.
I know it.
That's it. Bye.